Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here again with you from Holsinger's Fly Shop with another nymph pattern. This one is one that I've had a few requests for now. I put a picture of it out on Instagram and shared it on my Facebook page, and it's got a lot of interest, so I had a couple guys ask for a video on it. So I'm going to tie you one. This is a March Brown tied with lively legs. This is a good springtime hatch here. And does real well, big fly, fun to fish. So let's get into tying it here. You're going to see we're tying it on a size 1560 Daiichi wet fly nymph hook, and we're tying this in a size 10. This is a bigger pattern. We like these in a size 10. The guy that asked me to tie them for him requested it in that size for fishing on Penn's Creek. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out the the bead we're going to put on is a Cyclops bead, black nickel in a 7/64. And then I'm going to put about 10 wraps of lead on here. And the reason I'm putting the lead on is twofold: to give it a little extra weight because I like the nymph fish, and two, to hold that bead in place. So we'll get about 10 or 11 wraps of lead on there, shove it up in under the bead, and knock the tag end off there. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put our thread on. For the thread, I'm using 10/0 D10 cream thread. And we're just going to start it right behind the lead there, and we'll get this wrapped on. Cover up our lead just to hold it in place, keep that bead there. And then we're going to wrap it back to the bend of the hook and cut our tag off. Okay, once we get it wrapped back to the bend of the hook, we're going to put our tail on. For the tail, I'm using a yellow pheasant tail. It's a dyed natural pheasant tail, dyed yellow, and I'm going to take about 6 or so strands of the pheasant tail, and this is also going to make the back on the abdomen of the fly. And now I'm going to take these pheasant tail fibers and I'm going to get them all the same length. And I'm going to pinch them down so they're all the same length there. And then we're going to make this a hair shorter than the length of the fly. Just a hair. I want a little bit longer tail. It's a big fly, but I don't want it too long. Okay, and then I'm going to put about 3 wraps there, and then I'm going to fold this back over and put 3 or 4 wraps in front of it to get it to lay back. Next thing I'm going to take is some embroidery thread. Just regular embroidery thread you can get at Walmart, craft store, whatever. This is going to be the ribbing on the fly. I'm going to cut a section of this off, and then I'm going to strip it, and there's actually 5 or 6 strands here. There you can see there's 5 or 6 strands that make that up. I'm just going to pull one of them out, and that's going to be the ribbing on this fly. So then we're just going to put this ribbing onto the side of the fly here. And I'm going to run it clear back to my tail. Next thing is some cream Slf Squirrel Dub. I'm using this out of my combo pack of Squirrel Dub. I really like this. We carry this combo pack in the shop. We don't carry the individual packs. We can get your refills if you want to refill from it. But I'm going to put this on. I'm going to start it back here by the tail, and I'm going to wrap this forward. Make it nice and smooth here. And we're going to stop it right back there behind that lead, because we need to put some legs on. For the legs, I'm using some brown or rust colored legs from Lively Legs, and you see they have 3 legs on them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the tag off in the front, trim it pretty short, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to trim the back 2 legs off here. Okay, so you can see now I only have the front 2 legs, and we're going to tie these on. And I'm going to start it on the side, so it rolls over on the top, and then we'll just get these tied into place. And I want to tie them in right behind that bead. Okay, once we get this tied in here, you kind of do it loosely so you get them where you want them. And then we tie it down tighter. Okay, I'm going to trim that off just a hair. Okay, a lot of times I actually tie this in usually before I tie the abdomen in, but there you can do it anyhow this way. Now we're going to bring the back up over the abdomen, and we're just going to tie it down, and I'm actually tying this down in between the two legs. Okay, now we're going to take our piece of ribbing and we're going to rib this and just make a segmented body here. That's all we're doing. That's all the ribbing is doing. Creating a segmentation and making sure that you keep your strip down the top in the center. And then I bring it up between the two legs and tie it off. Alright, next thing we're going to use is a turkey tail. See, I got this one worked over here pretty good. We're just going to cut off about 6 or so fibers of this turkey tail. Okay, and then we're going to tie it in by the tip end here, but I'm going to tie it up here towards where it's a little bit thinner so it ties down a little bit better. But I don't want the dark of... You see, I used the tip of the feather. It's dark up here towards the tip. I want the mottled look back here in the side of it. So we're going to tie it just where that mottling starts. That mottling will give you a nice look here when you pull up over for a shellback. Okay, now the last thing I do here, the last thing I add on is some dubbing. And what I use for the dubbing on this is I use a mixture, a 50-50 mixture of cream dubbing and some natural, we'll bring it back here, okay, natural squirrel dubbing, and I just take the two of them together and just blend them together with my fingers. Just keep pulling them. Okay, once I get them blended together nice, I'm just going to dub this on. This squirrel dub gives you a nice buggy look to it. That's why I like using the squirrel dub so much. And it's a shorter, spikier dub than like a hare's ear. Okay, now we're going to wrap this on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure 8 around those, or figure 4, whatever, around the legs. Get them in there so my everything's covered up with my dubbing, and we're just going to work our way up front, up towards that bead. This is not a very hard fly to tie, but it is a very good looking fly, and it will catch you fish. Tie it smaller. This is actually like a great generic, like it will work great for the March Brown, but this is a great generic colored fly, just a buggy colored fly. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this turkey tail, pull it up here right behind the bead, and I'm going to hold it in place with my finger. And then I'll make sure it's where I want it, so it's right on top. And I'll make 3 or 4 wraps to hold it in place. Trim that off, and then we'll whip finish. So, like I said, this is a natural, when you soak this up, it'll get even a little bit darker. It's going to give you a natural buggy color to it with the dark brown on the back and the lighter color on the belly. That last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of a shell back to this. For me, I tend to use a lot of the Loon UV Thick for shellbacks. I like it a lot. You can just, use your Sally Hansen or whatever if you don't have the Loon. If you don't have UV, this just builds up a nicer, thicker shellback. And then we're just going to cover that up, get the thread covered up a little bit too to lock that in place. And hit it with our light. And that's all that's to our March Brown. You saw how easy that was to tie. It didn't take me that long talking through it even. It's also, like I said, you get the great blend of the light belly with the dark back. So it's a real natural effect to it. So I hope you like this fly. This is a great fish catching fly. Give it a try. All the materials you need to tie it, like always, you can find them in our shop at holsingersflyshop.com. Thanks for watching, everybody, and tune in next week when I bring you another pattern. I'm Sean Holsinger.